Hey friends, it's Laura with Laura's Handmade Haven. Welcome or welcome back. I'm so glad you joined me today. I have a product review for you today, but then I also have a quick pillowcase tutorial for some king size quilts, because when I go looking for a pillowcase tutorial online, I'm always finding the standard size, but I rarely find the king size version. And I have a king size bed, which means I have king size pillows, which means I need king size pillowcases. And we're going to use the hot dog method or the magic pillowcase method today to make a king size pillowcase instead of those standard size that you find everywhere online when you're looking for patterns. So first off, we're going to do a quick review of the ZZ Zones Sleep Pillow. And this pillow is called a Flex. Let me swing you down just a little bit. So this pillow is the ZZ Zones Flex pillow. And you may be wondering, well, what is so special about this? Well, let me tell you. It has a built-in metal frame, which doesn't sound very comfortable, but believe me, you'll never know it's there, except that metal frame allows you to shape the pillow to conform to your head. So if you have neck problems or back problems and you want that bigger arch in the pillow that seems to always go away in the middle of the night, this is a great solution. So my husband actually has some neck and back issues, and I asked them to send me 2 pillows because, well, to be honest, I don't want my bed looking lopsided. So I asked him to send me 2 pillows. He's been sleeping on his for about a week now, and he did say that he definitely can tell a difference when he wakes up in the morning, that he feels like his head's been more supported in the morning. The other one I have not put on my bed because I wanted to do kind of an unboxing so you can see what you will find when you open up the box for one of these pillows. So when you open this box, you're gonna be like, that does not look like a pillow at all. And it doesn't, but it will, I promise. So inside the box, you're gonna have like a setup guide, and it walks you through step by step just how to unwrap and fluff up your pillow initially, and then gives you some steps on how you can adjust it, how you can do some trial and error and just get some adjustments to this pillow so it will form for your sleeping situation. It also comes with this nice little travel case, so if you want to take your pillow with you when you travel, you have a case for that. And then this is how the pillow comes. Now, if you guys have purchased any of those memory foam mattresses, you are familiar with the fact that once you undo this, there is no turning back. So let's get this pillow unpacked so we can see what we have. Now, to unpack this pillow, all I'm gonna do is take my little packing thing here, and I'm just going to slide it down. Oops, careful not to get the pillow. And then this will unroll. And that's just some protective plastic just to keep it in there. And then another layer of plastic before you actually get the pillow out. Now, this looks very flat and very not good at this point, but it will fluff up. They recommend you leave it like 2 or 3 hours just to allow all of the foam inside of here to kind of fluff back up. But even at this point, you can feel there are like some metal rods that run the length of the pillow. And those are the ones that you're gonna be bending and shaping to conform to whatever your situation is for your neck and back to support you all through the night. The other thing you'll find in the box is some extra foam. And this is because some of us like firmer pillows than others, right? So it does come with extra foam, and you can stuff that in the pillowcase too. And that way you'll have an even firmer pillow to work with during the night to mold and shape. But let me show you what it looks like once it's been shaped and conformed to your sleeping style. Okay, so I went and grabbed my husband's pillow, and this is what his kind of looks like. You can see, and I'm not supporting it at all, except here in the middle, but you can see that metal frame inside it. That's what's making this side and that side go up. And like I said, those metal rods are in here, so you can squish them even more, and it's just gonna stay. It just stays. So really cool, but you don't feel it. Like when your head is on the pillow, you don't feel those metal rods. They won't be messing with you throughout the night. Like I said, my husband's been using this pillow for about a week, and he has said that he definitely feels like there's a difference between that and your regular standard pillows that you get that don't have that special frame built inside. So if you do have neck and back issues and you're looking for something that's a little unique, this pillow might be your answer. So check out in the description box down below ZZ Zones Flex Pillow. You can get them on Amazon. There's a link down below. Check them out. Now, the other thing I want to do for you in this video is give you a very quick and easy king size pillowcase tutorial. So join me over at the cutting table. We'll talk through what I've done already and talk through what you will need to do if you want to make this at home. I'll show you how I'm stitching it up really quick on my serger, and I'll also tell you how you can stitch it up on your sewing machine if you don't have a serger. Okay, so on the cutting table, I have two pieces of fabric. I have my main pillowcase fabric, really pretty Robert Kaufman, and then I also have a accent fabric that I'm using for my cuff. So it's actually the cuff fabric. You can add in an accent fabric too, but I'm not gonna do that. We're gonna keep this very easy. Main pillowcase fabric and cuff fabric, and that's it. So the first thing I'm gonna do is just open up my cuff fabric and lay it right side up on the table. Now I'm going to tell you these are both width of fabric, and the width of fabrics are not the same, but it's okay because we'll take care of that when we go to the serger. All right, and then we're just going to take one edge of the main pillowcase fabric. I know you're going to be freaking out because here I am pinning, and we're just going to put a few pins along here, just enough basically to hold that edge in place. This is not our final pinning. Yes, we are pinning again, but it is important to pin just a few places along here just to keep those edges together. Now, if you were searching for this method, if you wanted a PDF or a printable or HTML, something like that, look for the hot dog method of pillowcases and you will find it. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna do, and this is one thing that I do that other places don't tell you you can, but this is a king size quilt, right? Or a king size, I'm sorry. This is a king size pillowcase. So this main fabric is 36 inches long by width of fabric. The cuff fabric is 11 by width of fabric. And now just to make this a little simpler on myself, I've folded up the main pillowcase fabric just a little bit from the bottom, but not all the way to that edge. And now I'm going to take this and I'm just going to roll it up. And this is our hot dog. And you want it, you know, kind of tight, but it doesn't have to be super duper tight, okay? Don't get too concerned about this. You don't want it loose because you want to be able to not have it in the way, but it doesn't have to be so super tight that you're struggling with it either. And then, as you can see, I just wrapped my cuff fabric, which is the bun in our hot dog, around that roll. That roll is still down there. It's not getting into the edge of my fabric up here. That's very important, by the way. I did that one time and that is not the results you want. Your pillowcase will not turn out correct. All right, so then I'm just gonna wrap this cuff around my hot dog. So the bun is going around the hot dog, and I'm gonna pin this in place, making sure 3 edges are together. And basically you're gonna have your cuff fabric wrapped around and then one edge of your pillowcase fabric in between them. So we have 3 layers of fabric there. And let me bring you a little closer so you can see that even better. All right, so I have my cuff fabric right here, one side and the other side, and those are right sides together around one edge of my main pillowcase fabric. And remember, I put my pillowcase fabric right sides together on the first edge of my cuff. Rewind if you need to see that again, because that step is kind of important. And then I'm just pinning those 3 layers together. So we have 3 layers on this edge, not just 2, but 3. We're going to add one more pin in here at the end, and then we're going to bring our serger on over and sew up our hot dog pillowcase. Now, another thing that I have not seen done often is to use your serger for this entire process. I definitely have seen people use their sewing machine only, and I've seen them do one part with their sewing machine and one part with their serger, and I'm just like, you know what? You can do all of that with your serger, so just I don't like going back and forth. All right, so I'm just gonna lift my presser foot. And remember, at the end, I'll tell you how you can do this with your sewing machine. But if you have a serger, this is what you're doing. You are just sewing along that edge, making sure that those 3 edges are together. Now, obviously, you want to take your pins out along the way. Don't sew over a pin with a serger. Oh my goodness, that would be dreadful. All right, so this is where the magic happens. You're gonna take one end of your tube and you're just going to start pulling out the main fabric. And since we rolled all of that up inside and we sewed both sides of the cuff to the main fabric, we have a finished edge on both sides of this pillowcase fabric. Now, the only thing we need to do is take this to the ironing board, give this cuff a really good press, then we're gonna fold it in half and run 2 seams with our serger and we have a pillowcase done. All right, so this is pressed. I have a nice little edge up there and I'm just gonna take these 2 edges of my cuff, fold those right sides together, and then the only thing you have to do is make sure that your main pillowcase fabric, that should be right sides together because this is gonna be your interior seam. So you wanna make sure that these, that your main fabric is right sides together because you're not gonna be able to tell from your cuff because both sides are the right side, right? So make sure you fold your pillowcase so the right sides of your main pillowcase fabric is together, and you're just going to, now you can pin along there if you want to, but you know that sometimes I don't do that, so I'm not going to. I'm just going to keep my little finger right there and run it down the edge. Yep, and I'm gonna take off the excess with my serger while I'm stitching. Since my serger has a blade on it that it can cut off, this little selvage right here, I'm gonna go right inside this selvage and it's gonna cut all that off. And I'm just basically gonna eyeball it down the side, but it's not gonna be that hard, I promise, because there are lines on your serger. There are lines on your serger right here, and I'm going to put the edge of this right against that line. Keeping it right there. That gets it for that. That gets it for the cuff. That way my cuff is at the same point all the way down. Now I'm just gonna make sure I match up the edges of my selvage of the main fabric, match up those, and then that is gonna be right on that line. I just kind of like, I don't know, kind of like finding a point on the machine and say that's where I need to line it up. And you don't have to worry about the, you don't have to worry about the needle so much. Just worry about the point on the machine that you're lining up, and the rest of it's going to take care of itself. Like I said, I'm just keeping those edges together for those selvages, keeping that point right there on that line for my machine. So I know I'm sewing straight, or straight enough, honestly. It could be a little off and it's not going to matter. It's a pillowcase, right? It's not... We're not piecing a quilt where we have to be super precise. And then for this one, I am gonna go ahead and trim a little bit off. So I've also chose a point on my machine. This little line right here is what I'm going for. And I will just keep the edge of it. Oops. I'll just keep the edge of it kind of lined up with that line and go right on across. Now these tails, what I like to do, you can finish them off a few different ways, but if you just take them and tie a knot, then all of those little strings will stay together. Clip it a little bit from where you tie your knot. Just tie your knot down close to the edge of the fabric, and that will keep all those strings from pulling out when you don't want them to. And then same thing up here with the cuff. Just going to tie a knot down close to the fabric and then trim it just a little ways from that knot, and that's going to keep all those strings together and you're going to be fine. Now the last thing we have to do is just turn out our pillowcase and we're done. That's it. So, hey, this is a really cool, simple, quick method. So even if you have people in your life that have king size beds, such as myself, then you will be able to make king size pillowcases really quickly and easily with your serger. Now, if you don't have a serger, I promised I would tell you, you're gonna do basically the same thing, except you're going to go ahead and do the hot dog method just like I showed you. You're going to roll up your fabric and you're gonna pin it and you're gonna sew it with a straight stitch on your machine. And then when you get to those two interior seams, you have a few different choices. You can just do a zigzag all the way around those two edges. Most domestic sewing machines do have that other stitch that kind of looks like a serger stitch, but it's not. It has like the V's in between two straight stitches. You could definitely do that, not a problem. You could also do a French seam, which is a little trickier, but not that bad. You basically fold your fabrics wrong sides together like you're looking at the outside of your pillowcase, and you run a straight stitch 1/4 inch from the edge all the way down and around the two sides. Then you turn the pillowcase inside out, and you do it again, but this time you're gonna go a little further in. You do lose a little bit from the width of your pillowcase with the French seam, but it does give a nice finished look, and you don't have to have a serger and you don't have a raw seam inside your pillowcase. And I definitely could have done that too, but I just didn't want to because, you know, my serger is so much easier, right? I mean, that took me maybe 10 minutes to make a pillowcase. So look through your stash, and if you have a yard of something and 12 inches of another, you can make a pillowcase really quickly for your bed. And if you, even better, if you have 3 yards of something, because then you can make 2 pillowcases for your bed. So, hey, until next time, find joy in all you do. Carve out some time for crafting and creating. And remember, it's always better when you make stuff up. Don't forget to check out the description box for the ZZ Zones Flex Pillow.